welcome to my channel. Without further ado, let's jump right into it. You ever have one of those moments where you know you shouldn't do something, but you do it anyway? That was me last year. I'd been out fishing all day at this lake I love about an hour from town. The fishing wasn't great, but it was peaceful, just me and a few sodas. It was the kind of day where time slips away, and before you know it, the sun's dropping low and you're packing up in the dark. Anyway, I was heading home, taking the usual road back into town. I'd done it 100 times before, but this time something was different. Up ahead, there was this big orange sign. Road closed. Great, just what I needed. I didn't think much of it, though. There was a detour sign pointing to this old road. I knew where it led. It'd take me right past that big cemetery out on the countryside. I kinda didn't want to go through it because there's just something about cemeteries at night. They're not exactly welcoming, Still, I told myself, it's just a shortcut. Nothing's gonna happen. So I turned onto the detour and headed that way. The first part of the road wasn't so bad. It was quiet, dark, with a little moonlight spilling through the trees. My headlights lit up the gravel road, and the only sound was the sound of my tires. But then I got closer to the cemetery. You could feel it before you even saw it. The air just felt different, like something pressing down on your chest. And then there it was. The cemetery stretched out on both sides of the road, with these old crooked tombstones rising out of the ground like broken teeth. There wasn't a single light around except for my headlights, and they didn't make me feel any better. Halfway through, my car did the thing it always does. It stalled and died. Just like that, the engine cut out and everything went quiet. I wasn't even surprised. This old junker had been pulling this stunt for months. Usually, I just had to sit there for 5 minutes and it'd start back up like nothing happened. I should have fixed it ages ago, but, well, you know how it is. I put it in park, sighed, and pulled out my phone. I didn't want to look at the cemetery. Who would? So I cranked up the music and kept my eyes on the screen, scrolling through stuff to kill time. But then, over the music, I thought I heard something weird. At first I ignored it, probably just my imagination, right? But it got louder, like a soft scratching noise just outside the car. It wasn't wind or leaves. It sounded weird. I finally looked up, and that's when I saw it. There was a face staring at me from the top of a tombstone. It wasn't a normal face. It was pale, almost white, with long, stringy hair covering most of it. I couldn't make out any features. No eyes, no mouth. Just this blank, haunting face peeking over the tombstone like it was watching me. My heart just about stopped. For a second, I thought maybe I was imagining things. I blinked hard, but it didn't go away. It was still there, not moving, just staring at me. My whole body went cold. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. It felt like time just stopped, and then it moved. The head tilted slightly, like it was curious or something. That's when I lost it. I reached for the ignition and tried to start the car, but, of course, nothing happened. I could feel my hands shaking as I kept turning the key over and over, hoping, praying the damn thing would just start. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw the face again. It wasn't on the tombstone anymore. It was closer, a lot closer. It was wearing this tattered dark dress that hung loosely, and its arms were limp at its sides. It didn't look human. The way it stood, the way it moved, it wasn't right. I tried to convince myself it was just a prank, maybe some weirdo messing with me. But deep down, I knew that wasn't it. There was something wrong about it, something evil. And then it started walking toward the car. It wasn't fast. It moved slow, almost like it was gliding across the ground, but every step it took made my chest tighten a little more. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't just sit there, but I couldn't exactly run either. I was trapped. When it got close enough, I saw its face more clearly. The hair wasn't covering it anymore, and I almost wish it had been. Its eyes were these empty black holes, and its mouth, God, its mouth was stretched into this unnatural wide grin. It didn't look like it should be able to smile like that. It wasn't right. It reached out a hand, long and bony, and started tapping on the window. Not banging or scratching, just this soft, rhythmic tap, like it was waiting for me to do something. I don't know what came over me, but I grabbed my phone and turned the music up as loud as it would go, hoping to drown out the sound. It didn't work. The tapping got louder more often, and then it stopped. For a moment, I thought maybe it was gone. But when I looked up, it was on the other side of the car. I don't even know how it moved that fast. It was just there, staring at me through the passenger window, its face inches from the glass. I couldn't take it anymore. I slammed my hand against the steering wheel, shouting at the car to start. And then, by some miracle, it did. The engine roared to life, and I didn't waste a second. I threw it into drive and hit the gas, not even caring about the gravel spraying behind me. As I sped down the road, I glanced in the rearview mirror. The figure was standing in the middle of the road watching me, its head tilted again, that horrible grin still on its face. And then it raised a hand and waved. I didn't stop driving until I got home. Even then, I didn't feel safe. I double-checked the locks on my doors and windows, turned on every light in the house, and sat in the living room with my back to the wall. I tried my best to act like everything was normal, but deep down, I was truly terrified. I flopped on my couch, flipped on the TV, and tried to drown out my thoughts with some mindless show, but it didn't help. Eventually, I dragged myself to bed, hoping sleep would take me far away from all that weirdness. I started dreaming, and in my dream, I was walking down a path I didn't recognize. Everything around me felt wrong. You know that feeling when something seems normal, but your gut just screams, "Don't trust this"? Yeah, it was like that. Trees lined the path, and it was eerily quiet, like even the birds didn't want to be there. After what felt like forever, I came across a house sitting all by itself at the end of the path. It wasn't creepy in the stereotypical way. No broken windows or creaking shutters, but something about it gave me chills. It was too quiet, too perfect, like it was waiting for me. My heart was screaming at me not to go in, so I just stood there, staring at it, feeling uneasy. Then the door slowly opened, and out came a woman. She looked normal enough, middle-aged, wearing a plain dress, her hair tied back. But the way she moved, it was too smooth, like she was gliding instead of walking. She stopped on the porch, waved at me, and said with a warm smile, "We meet again." I was floored. "Wait, what?" I asked, completely confused. "Who are you?" She chuckled softly, like I had just told the funniest joke. "Oh, you don't remember? You stopped by earlier, but ran away. I figured you were shy." Her words hit me like a ton of bricks. My mind raced back to the cemetery. I didn't say anything, just stood there with my mouth hanging open. She must have noticed because she tilted her head and asked, "Do you want to come inside for a bit? I promise I don't bite." Every fiber of my being wanted to scream, "No way," but I tried to play it cool. "No thanks," I said, forcing a nervous laugh. "I think I'll just stay out here." She didn't push me. She just smiled, nodded, and said, "All right. If you change your mind or need anything, just knock." With that, she turned, went back inside, and closed the door behind her. That's when I woke up, drenched in sweat. My heart was pounding so hard it felt like it was trying to escape my chest. The dream was so vivid, so real, that for a second I wasn't sure if I was actually awake. I looked around my room trying to ground myself, but the uneasy feeling lingered. I don't take that road anymore. Hell, I don't even go fishing at that lake. It's been a year now, and I still feel like something's watching me. Thank you for listening to this video. I'll see you in the next one.